One of America's top inventors is about to test the limits of technology and his own courage. He's out to break the real land speed record with the fastest car ever built. The Bonneville Salt Flats, where land speed records are made and broken. For decades, the world's gutsiest drivers and fastest cars have come here. But for one man, this Bonneville racing season is the culmination of a lifelong fascination with powerful machines.
I think I was born mechanically insane. I cannot remember a time when I wasn't involved or playing with machines. It's been a lifelong love affair.
Jim Feuling builds exotic engines today that may power your car in the future. To Jim, the cars we drive are primitive, with engines that burn too much fuel and threaten the environment.
You hear a lot of people back in Detroit saying this is as far as the internal combustion engine is going to evolve. The engine is still in its infancy. There's a tremendous amount of room left, not only in fuel efficiency, but in emissions and the impact that it has on the environment. We've just barely scratched the surface, and shame on those that make those statements.
Here at his shop in Ventura, California, Jim's pushing the boundaries of automotive science. He designs engines that do the impossible. They deliver incredible power and save energy. His approach to engineering is simple: break every rule in the book. Even though he owns over 100 patents, ranging from engine valves to Formula One helmets, Jim sees himself as an engineering renegade. He takes his cue from another maverick, Nikola Tesla, who was once as famous as Thomas Edison. Tesla was ridiculed for his talk of anti-gravity machines and other bizarre devices. But today, his practical inventions are all around us.
Here's a gentleman who invented AC current, the electric power system as we know it today, radar, remote control, fluorescent lights. It was just the most amazing thing that I couldn't even comprehend it. And the guy was on the cover of Time magazine back in the 20s, and he disappeared from history.
Like Tesla, Feuling believes science is stranger than we imagine. Jim's continuing Tesla's pioneering work and is experimenting to see if Tesla's theories of electricity could one day apply to automobiles. Visionary ideas like these have made Jim one of the most successful inventors in the business. Ford, Harley-Davidson, Oldsmobile, and other leading companies compete for his revolutionary designs.
For me, it's a very satisfying way of making a living. It's like being in a rock and roll band. I get paid to play.
For Jim, invention is about pushing his machines and himself to the limit.
My attitude is speed never killed anybody. It's the sudden stops that hurt.
Jim's always loved the thrill of speed. Over the years, he's progressively gone faster and faster. And he's come to believe that racing has a deeper purpose. It actually inspires the process of invention. Now, at 53, Jim's set to run the toughest race of his life. He's about to test his ultimate design, the Feuling Streamliner. His dream is to drive the Streamliner 500 miles an hour, faster than any car in history. This is no hot rodder's toy. The Streamliner is one of the most advanced vehicles ever built. Powered by methanol, it's environmentally friendly, and Jim's design uses fuel more efficiently, giving the Streamliner's small engine incredible horsepower. Jim's used airflow theories developed by NASA, so the Streamliner cuts through the air like a dart. At GM's wind tunnel, the car scored the best aerodynamic rating ever, which means Jim needs less engine power to go fast. And going fast is what it's all about. Jim's out to break the world land speed record. That doesn't mean he wants to drive a jet car. Those cars may get the headlines, but for an engineer like Jim, they're just airplanes that don't take off.
Being a pilot, I guess I could probably take and fly an F-104 with the gear down and probably run Mach 1. It's not truly an automobile.
450. Set to go. 550. You can match.
The technology, I think, is probably more suited for Hollywood or for movies. The type of technology that we're developing and hoping to applies directly to the family car, to a sports car, to transportation of the future.
Jim's after the record for real cars, powered by internal combustion engines. It's a record once held by Henry Ford, 91 miles an hour in 1904. The current record has stood since 1965, when Bob Summers drove his four-engined machine 409 miles an hour. This is the speed Jim's out to break. There's only one spot he can do it: the Bonneville Salt Flats in western Utah. Millions of years ago, the flats were the site of a saltwater lake. The lake dried out, but the salt remained. Today, its smooth surface and excellent traction make Bonneville the world's best racing surface. But Bonneville is unpredictable. A racer's dreams are at the mercy of the elements. And when Jim arrives to test his Streamliner, he finds that a fluke storm has flooded the course. Rain is the last thing he needs. Jim wants to break the record this year, and time is precious. The federal government owns Bonneville and only allows racing a few times a year. It's already mid-September, and Jim needs to make crucial low-speed test runs before going for the record next month at the final meet of the season. It's a long shot, but Jim checks the course to see if any sections are dry enough for a run.
Well, she's wet, Doug. Well, we got the car running right. All we need is a little cooperation from Mother Nature, you know.
Now,
the tests are canceled, and it's back to California. Jim's record attempt is just 3 weeks away. Time is running out.
Scope it out here. Chief? Well, we're back. We survived another one, but I think what we got to do is figure out what we're going to do in 3 weeks. We got a short string and an awful lot to do.
Bump limit here.
Without the test runs, Jim's team will have to be doubly prepared for the next meet.
We don't want a lot of oil flying around getting into laid this thing out a couple.
The computer team simulates the low-speed runs that were washed out. These whiz kids from Teledyne Ryan also test fighter planes for the Pentagon. They've packed the Streamliner with sensors that will help Jim maximize performance on each run. Across town, Jim's come to check on the Streamliner's tires, which are handmade.
While I was working, I mean, that thing has got uniform wear all the way across it.
Getting the tires right has been tough. At 300 miles an hour, even the best tires expand and lose traction.
Running over 300 miles an hour that aren't spinning the tires.
Tire expert Nate Jones found a clever solution. He carved a valley in the tread. When the tires expand, the valley becomes a flat surface.
Tires make or break what we're attempting to do here. We're running on two little patches about as big around as $50, and we're trying to transmit 1,000 horsepower to the ground and go 500 miles an hour on these two little patches. And that controls the braking, the stability, virtually everything that's key to this effort that we're putting together to try to go 400 plus miles an hour.
Three weeks later, every part of the Streamliner has been double-checked and it's ready to run.
As the Streamliner sits today, in my mind, I believe it's capable of going 450 plus miles an hour today. It contains every scrap of knowledge and ability that we currently possess. Well, here we are, getting ready to leave for Bonneville. I think everybody is very upbeat. The car's ready, so hopefully we get some cooperation out of Mother Nature.
And how are you feeling?
I feel great. If I was any better, I'd pass out.
No disasters yet, so we're looking good, getting ready to load the car. We'll put the body together, put it in the trailer for the first time, see if it's going to fit. I think it will.
Crank this up. Clear.
Running a little behind as usual, but we're going to gather it up. Not looking forward to the drive today, but
This is the last run of the year. We're down to one last visit to Bonneville. We're reaching fever pitch. We've got a lot of enthusiasm here. We have never been better prepared, and we're going to do it.
"700 miles and 15 hours later, the crew reaches the casino town of Wendover on the Nevada-Utah border. Four hours later, they head to the salt.
Everybody wants to set a record. And when you start talking about the ultimate land speed record, the pressure is it's intense.
Jim was dreading another washout. He and his backup driver are amazed at how quickly the salt has dried.
To me, this is just unbelievable that it's this smooth out this far.
Boy, this is beautiful right here.
Bonneville is so flat that the naked eye can actually perceive the curvature of the earth.
This is an absolute mind blower here. Oh, wow. What we have here is probably the best surface conditions that I've seen in 10, 12 years. So this gives me goosebumps. This is going to be the starting point here to run in that direction, and that's we're headed almost due west. Looks like you could run clean into Wendover.
Yeah. Just aim for the point of that hill there.
Pull up at the Silversmith. That is slick.
Jim's here for the 3-day finale to the Bonneville season. Each October, the world's fastest cars converge on the Salt Flats for this exclusive, invitation-only meet. With the course in such good condition, the competition will be tough. And a few other drivers have their eye on the same record as Jim.
Well, I'm not sure how fast it'll go. I got it geared for 500, and I'm going to try to go 425, and then see what we can do from there.
We're actually looking at that 409. I don't know if it'll happen, but we think the car's capable of that.
I'd like to get it up about 415, 420. There is a certain amount of pressure, but that's what it's all about.
To break the record, a driver must make 2 runs in opposite directions within an hour. His official time is the average of both runs, and it has to exceed the old record by at least 1%.
So if you go down that way at 408, you've qualified. You turn around and come back this way and you do 420, you get yourself a new record. Okay? So
Jim and his fellow drivers share a deep respect and camaraderie. But tomorrow morning, the gloves are off.
I feel excited. This is probably the best that I've seen the salt in 10, 12 years. It's absolutely pristine. There's an awful lot of positive vibrations going on out here. I have a feeling that the existing world land speed record for automobiles is going to go down this week. There's probably 6 cars that are capable of going out and running over 400 miles an hour today. So pressure's on. The record was set in 1965, so it's getting a little old anyway.
The Streamliner is radically different from other cars on the course. Jim's inventions boost power by compressing airflow through the cylinders, exhaust system, and engine valves. It's technology that could revolutionize passenger cars, but today, everything has to work just right.
You have to take into consideration luck, Mother Nature, the intestinal fortitude of the driver, and a lot of other factors that you just don't know. When things are right, you can't go wrong.
We're ready to race.
What's your strategy for today?
Go fast.
At 8 a.m., the Streamliner is pushed to the starting line, 5 miles away. Its first gear isn't even used under 80 miles an hour. Jim will cover a mile in about 7 seconds. He'll be at his fastest between the 5 and 6 mile marks, where timing equipment will clock his official speed. The methanol fuel is measured precisely for maximum power. For his first run, Jim will aim for a top speed of 350. If everything works, he'll change the gears and go for the 409 record later in the day. At 9 a.m., the first cars are off. Jim is next. Just getting in the car takes several minutes. He's strapped in tight and can only move his arms enough to shift gears and turn the wheel slightly. The crew car will push Jim up to 80 when first gear kicks in. Second gear, 150. Third, 220.
269.
Fourth, 280.
A little lazy in fourth. 10-4, a little lazy in fourth.
Fifth, 300. Suddenly, there's a problem.
Got some smoke in here, Gary, so I'm going to push around out as far as I can, but I shut the motor off, over. Okay, I got that. We're on our way down. We're almost to the pits now.
A little smoky in there.
Fire is a racer's nightmare. Flames can spread to the cockpit in seconds. When he saw the smoke, Jim had no choice but to shut the engine down.
Pardon me?
Even so, he still clocked at 304 miles an hour.
The car ran real smooth. We had a little hesitation, I guess, in fifth gear. The engine felt a little lazy. 304 plus miles an hour. So for an initial outing today, I think it's just fine. But hopefully we didn't hurt the motor. I just kept my eye on the tach. It slowly crept up. I mean, it was 64, 6,500. It was still kind of coming along. But to be totally honest, I should have been. I did not look back. I checked. Well, it's always a little disconcerting whenever you get smoke in the cockpit, particularly at high speed. It really wasn't all that bad, but it looks like we had some kind of a minor fire up front, so we'll get it straightened out and go again.
Breakdowns come with the territory, but in a complex machine like the Streamliner, pinpointing the source of the problem isn't easy.
I would anticipate within a half an hour we'll know whether or not we have to pull the engine out.
The tip of one spark plug melted in the heat.
Just nothing severe there. I just got that one cylinder. Bummer.
A new plug doesn't help. The problem seems to lie deep inside the engine. To find it, there's no choice but to remove the whole engine, a 4-hour job.
This is the real speed secret here, gentlemen. The secret's in the sauce.
Finally, the news comes.
Well, we could be in better shape. We've lost the engine. I just hate it when this happens.
The crew takes the engine into Salt Lake City, where there's a small chance it can be repaired. For Jim, there's little left to do but watch his rivals.
Fastest piston pass today. That's pretty good.
Yes, it is.
Pretty good.
I got to connect. Sounded good.
The crew worked all night, but the engine's a write-off.
You want some real gore? Follow me.
Jim's never had an engine fail like this. He has to quickly discover what happened to have any chance of setting a record this year.
Because you look at all the little machining marks. I mentioned we set up a doggone stress riser, and that thing popped.
We have a mechanical failure down inside the cylinder bore. The piston itself has fractured, and in an area that we don't normally see this kind of a failure occur. The other cylinders that we see here, all of them are ideal. They're all running perfectly, nothing to indicate there was a problem. So what we've got to do is we've got to come up with some new ideas, some new concepts, and make a couple of quantum leaps here in order to take and come back and, and go faster and be more reliable. It's like old racer Joe Leonard once said, to finish first, one first must finish. And it fits here, doesn't it?
At least Jim's not alone. No one else sets the record either. The salt bored a hole right through one car. Another blew its engine. And a third had problems with its gears.
Well, these gears aren't any good.
You wouldn't put them in your car?
No, I think they've been thoroughly destroyed.
It's better that I go home now and make sure we don't have something that's going to fracture or give us a problem down the road and wreck the car.
You can't always beat the odds, and sometimes the odds are just against you.
That's why those records stand for a long time. It's not easy getting there.
This week has been, I guess, kind of the sequel to the last trip up here. It's a disappointment, too.
This was supposed to be the last meet of the year. As his crew heads home without a record, Jim's determined to find a way to get back to the Salt before winter.
Could be real easy, I guess, to quit now. But I think tenacity is going to prevail. I know it will. And, I don't really have any choice. There's a difference between being involved and being committed. And in this particular case, I'm committed.
Back home in Southern California, Jim's reminded what this quest is all about. The methanol-powered Streamliner is less polluting than the average family car, and Jim wants to prove the engines he's developing could help protect the environment.
50, 40, 47, 47.3.
To do that, he has to get back to Bonneville. Jim's convinced the government to give him special permission to run next week. Now all he needs is an engine.
My name is, may I help you?
Yeah, this is Jim Feuling. Did you guys receive my my engine shipment? You know, I air freighted an engine over there.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it came in. It seemed like yesterday. But I can go down and check if you want.
Yeah, no, we shipped it out yesterday afternoon, air freight. So you guys should have got it this morning. I'm hoping you got it because I need to have it no later than Monday or Tuesday at the latest back.
Yeah. Hold on.
Things are looking up here. I guess we're guardedly optimistic we're going to make it back up to the Salt. Engine's out, getting rebuilt. Guys got the liner all dialed in. All we got to do is throw an engine back in there. And we should be ready by Tuesday. And we're getting down to the short strokes here. There is no doubt about it.
Even if he makes it back to Bonneville, Jim may not have a course to run on. After years of mining, the salt itself is being depleted. Now, to preserve this fragile environment, the federal government has begun flooding the area with salt water. Within a week, the racecourse will be completely submerged. As Jim's team prepares for another run, they discover what went wrong last time. Tiny debris in the fuel clogged the injectors. At 300 miles an hour, the engine blew and smoke poured from the exhaust. Despite the breakdown, Jim learned something profound. At extreme speed, his perception of time seemed to change.
Driving at extremely high speeds is like being in a true time warp. The faster you go, the slower things appear to happen. But your perception, you pick out each and every little event. It's like your perception at time changes. And that's what occurs in a car at very high speed.
But Jim knows speed is serious business. At 300 miles an hour, even the tiniest design flaw could prove deadly. Within a week, the engine's been repaired. The Streamliner is ready for Jim's last shot at the record this year. With 1 day to go, a famous friend pays an unexpected visit.
What was it like when you were in there and that engine blew?
Well, it got pretty smoky.
300 miles an hour?
Yeah, well, I know how much of a nut you are about no smoking, so you wouldn't have liked this ride. You got to do everything gingerly. Those kind of speeds, that's 450 feet per second. It's pretty gnarly. So you got
to a rug burn, won't it?
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, it would definitely ruin your day if you got this thing upside down.
Actor Larry Hagman shares Jim's passion for Harley-Davidsons, and a cruise to the beach is a welcome break from the pressure.
This is the 11th and a half hour, and we got one more shot left this year if we're lucky.
The team makes it to Bonneville just in time. The floodwaters haven't reached the course. Jim has a few days to race. His competitors were also invited to this special meet, but none could get their cars ready. Jim and Mike Nish, his backup driver, find the course is still smooth and dry. The salt's perfect, and Jim has it all to himself. Jim decides to go for another record first. The Streamliner is so stable, it can easily run on 3 wheels. With 2 runs over 300 miles per hour, the Streamliner will set a world record in a 3-wheeled class. Then, they'll put the 4th wheel back on and go for the top land speed record. Mike will take the wheel. Jim wants to study his car from a distance, as an engineer, not a driver.
I'm out of here.
It's a good start. At 110, Mike shifts into second. Then there's an ominous pop, and Mike aborts the run.
I don't know, it felt like maybe something, maybe the gear broke.
They head back to the pits. For the rest of the day, the crew tries to figure out what went wrong.
kinds better inventions.
By morning, it's well below freezing, and they still haven't found the problem. Gary finds an ominous clue. An oil filter is covered in metal. After 6 weeks of constant work, this is no one's idea of fun.
Still don't know much.
Jim's gone into town to buy everyone lunch. At last, Gary finds out what went wrong, and it's not good. As crew chief, it's his job to tell his boss the bad news.
Pizza man!
Fine, Clara.
The problem is the camshaft. To fit the spare, they'd have to completely rebuild the engine overnight, an impossible job on the freezing salt flats.
That's not a viable solution, I think.
Help comes from an old rival turned friend. Terry Nish, Mike's dad, offers Jim the use of his shop in Salt Lake City, just 2 hours away. Jim's hopes for a record are still alive.
Here we are at Terry Nish's shop, and Terry Nish and his sons race at Bonneville, and they're heavy-duty competitors, and they go really fast, and we're good friends, but they were kind enough to invite us down here. We've got the whole crew here helping us out, and it's really something.
The problem with the camshaft was minuscule, a simple manufacturing error.
The racing is like this. It's really either up or it's down. I hate this when this happens.
After an all-night thrash, the car is ready. Back at Bonneville, the floodwaters are close to the course. There's just 1 day left to race.
We've had enough problems. It's time to quit playing. Start going.
With his dream and reputation on the line, Jim will take the wheel himself for his last chance at a record this year. The acceleration is perfect. Second gear, 190. Third, 240. Fourth, 280. Fifth, 320. Top speed, 350 on 3 wheels. 6 miles in under a minute.
Stay a little bit behind in case he has to turn.
Amazing, isn't it? Actually flows like this stuff. You're leaving black marks down the track as you accelerate also. Yeah, I definitely went up in smoke. You left about 100 yards of black marks. I don't want to plant those together.
Well, that was nice. I love it. Man, I am so elated. We worked hard for that one. I've never pulled the low-speed chute at high speed. Boy, it hits hard. I bumped my doggone head on the doggone roll bar here. But the car went just straight as a string. I mean, I didn't even have, I could have turned the wheel loose. I didn't, but it felt so stable. That thing is just beautiful.
We laid the hammer in to start catching up with you, and I saw it shooting come out, and I said, "Get on it!"
Oh man, that was a really exciting ride. I mean, that's what we've been waiting for, guys.
The timer confirms Jim's official speed, 323 miles an hour.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I think it'll go a lot faster, but you know, I mean, we made a clean run.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this.
Jim, that's one in a row.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, yeah.
He broke my record.
It ain't over till it's over, so we got to go back yet. So at least we actually have finally got a good speed on the car.
I've never done that before.
So I'm proud of that. That's excellent.
It won't be like Indy. Well, I'm going to watch off that.
If he can make another fast run within the hour, Jim will set the 3-wheeled record. The Streamliner's designed for a quick turnaround. If all goes well, there'll still be time today to go for the 4-wheeled record.
Still get the car started.
Okay, something.
I heard it pop. Let's go. He's hauling ass. Go ahead and get on the horse right away.
The start is faster than ever. $220. $280. $320. $350. Jim's still accelerating and hasn't even reached the timing lights. $370, and the engine blows. Jim shuts down, but doesn't pull the chutes.
I'm just going to go ahead and coast her to a stop. Let's see what the data says. Over. That's a copy, Jim.
Even coasting, Jim goes through the measured mile at 290 miles an hour. He ignored the smoke during the run. Now he wants out of the car.
Give me stopped. Pop the fire bottle. No.
Looks like we got smoke.
No fire though.
Jim has set the 3-wheeled record. But his triumph came at a price. There will be no 4-wheeled record this year. Back in the pits, Jim finds a familiar problem, the piston blew.
It would appear that we have another problem with a piston going out. I mean, it's just gone. So we're very fortunate. We managed to coast through to a world record, and I'm tickled. I'm delighted.
Jim leaves Bonneville with a world record and the satisfaction of driving his Streamliner 370 miles an hour. For Jim, these moments at high speed are what invention is all about. Even if it means risking his own life, Jim's out to push technology to the breaking point and prove his theories of car design. If Jim Feuling has his way, the ordinary cars the rest of us drive will one day be more powerful, fuel efficient, and environmentally friendly. And Jim still believes the Streamliner will be the fastest car on the planet next year.